Good evening. Tonight's Committee of Adjustment hearing is being held by video conference and live stream video on the town's live stream webpage at oakville.ca. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variance and consents held under the authority of the Planning Act. Please keep in mind the intent of this process is to review the application that is before the committee, listen to the evidence, and then make a decision. This process is not intended to be used to resolve any concerns or disputes that may exist between the town, individuals, or organizations. If a request for deferral is made and the committee grants such a request, the applicant or authorized agent must contact the Secretary Treasurer to schedule a new hearing date. In order to conduct an effective and efficient electronic hearing, we have adopted the following process. If you are watching the live stream of this hearing on oakville.ca and if you wish to speak to an item on the agenda, you can call 905-815-6095. Again, the number is 905-815-6095. The phone number will also be posted on the live stream page at oakville.ca. Staff will be standing by to take your call, and when you call, staff will ask for your name, item number that you wish to address, and your telephone number. Further instructions will be provided for you to call back to join the video conference. When the chair of the committee polls for interested parties, you'll have to press *6 to unmute yourself. The applicant or agent will be given the opportunity to briefly explain the committee the basis of their application, answer any questions that may arise. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for a presentation. You will need to state your full name and address for the record, and any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. All delegations must also state their full name and address for the record. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for each presentation. All remarks and questions are to be directed to the chair. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. The applicant or agent will then be provided with further 5 minutes to respond to the committee questions, comments, and interested parties, and answer any questions from the committee members. If the applicant or agent has concerns found in the staff report, particularly any proposed conditions, this will be the opportunity to advise us. The matter will then be taken into committee for a final decision, and this will mark the end of discussion. Any person desiring a notice of decision for an application must provide a written request, preferably through email, to the Secretary Treasurer. Written notice of the committee's decision will be mailed no later than 10 days for minor variance and 15 days for consents to the applicant, agent, or any other person who has filed a written request for such notice. The last day to appeal the decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal will be noted on the decision. Only the applicant's specified persons or bodies may appeal the committee's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. In November of 2022, Bill 23 legislation, the More Homes Built Faster Act, amended the Planning Act to remove appeal rights for members of the public. If no appeal is received when the prescribed time frame has elapsed, the decision of the committee becomes final and binding. The Secretary Treasurer will then notify the applicant and anyone who has received a copy of the decision through written correspondence. People participating in the hearing are to be courteous to and respectful of the members of the committee, town staff, and any other person who is participating in the electronic hearing. Tonight's electronic hearing is being video recorded and available to view at oakville.ca. Thank you. We have one regret this evening, Mr. Dickey. Do I have any declarations of peculiar interests? Okay, I see none. Thank you. Requests for deferral or withdrawal of applications. Madam Secretary Treasurer, if you have anyone in the audience that is seeking a deferral at this time, please let us know. Anyone in attendance tonight who is seeking to defer or withdraw an application, please raise your hand and the Secretary Treasurer will admit you in to speak. The one called in, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
I just promoted Gada Kassab in regards to the application.
Hello.
067.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Kassab, yes, we could hear you.
Yes, thank
Which
you.
application are you here for?
Yes, it's for CAVA 64 2024. My name is Gada Kassab. I'm here the agent representing owners of 1333 Sheldon Avenue. In light of Halton Region staff and town planning staff comments, I would like to request a deferral for application to address the outstanding concerns and to improve proposed design. For this, may I also request the contact details for the Halton Region staff and planning staff to work with them together on the concerns and comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All those in support of a deferral for CAV 064 of 2024 at 1333 Sheldon Avenue. Okay, your application has been deferred. You can see the Secretary Treasurer at your earliest convenience. For contact information, I'm sure if you call the Secretary Treasurer at that time, they will also be able to help you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, did you
Madam
have
Chair.
anything to say?
Yes, for the planner, I'm not sure who is doing the planning report for this application. For the region of Halton, I can release the information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Anyone else?
Yeah, the next one is Arlen Beaumont.
Good evening, Arlene Beaumont, Outfit and Associates. We are the agents for the owners of 163 Ulster Drive. That is application A061 2024. We would like to request deferral similar to the first speaker. We've seen the planning comments and would like some time to revise the proposal, bring down the height a little bit, maybe change the design to reduce the appearance of massing.
Very well, thank you, Ms. Beaumont. All those in support of a deferral for CAV 061 of 2024 at 153 Ulster Drive. Okay. The application has been deferred. You'll see the Secretary Treasurer at your earliest convenience. Thank you. Have a good evening. Are we still waiting on anyone else?
Yes, I'm just promoting the next one.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Aliasi. I'm working with Western Consulting, representing the owner of 85 Bronte Road for application CAV 063 and 2024. We would like to request a deferral due to after receiving the comment report from staff, we need to provide additional information on TDM measurements and implementation strategy. Therefore, Crozier team, who is the traffic consultant, requires some additional time to prepare that.
Very well. All those in support of deferral, excuse me, for CAV 063 2024 at 85 Bronte Road. Okay, the application has been deferred. You'll see the Secretary Treasurer at your earliest convenience. Thank you. With that in mind, we will take the first matter of the agenda for this evening, that being CAV. Yes?
Madam Chair, sorry, I'm just still trying to promote the person, Michael Jenkins, but I have difficulties to promote him.
Oh, okay.
If you can wait a couple seconds, please.
Sure.
Yeah, he is in the panel.
Hello, sorry, can you hear me or?
We can now, Mr. Jenkins. Go ahead. Which application are you here for?
I'm at 1331, so it's just the house on 1333. I had a concern about that.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to give me the full address here.
1331 Sheldon Avenue, Oakville, Ontario.
Okay, so the Sheldon Avenue application has been deferred. So you'll get a new notice once the application has come back before the committee with new parameters. They had requested a deferral to deal with issues with respect to the Halton region, as well as comments from town staff. So you'll have to come back at the time that it does come back before the committee.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Anyone else, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
I don't see anybody.
I'm just going to repeat the applications that were deferred, as there were several, and I know people might have called in, and we do note we have your letters of objection. However, because the applications are deferred, we'll have to wait until they amend their applications and come back before the committee, and at that time, you will be notified again, and you will be able to support or object to the application. So the three applications that have been deferred for tonight are CAV 061 of 2024 at 153 Ulster Drive, and application CAV 064 of 2024 at 1333 Sheldon Avenue. And the last application that was deferred is application CAV 063 of 2024 at 85 Bronte Road. All these three have been deferred. If you are in attendance and you're seeking to speak to one of these applications, unfortunately, we will not be able to hear you as the matters have been deferred. You'll have to come back when they do come back before the committee. Thank you. Okay. Application CAV 062 of 2024 at 130 Gloucester Avenue. We do have 10 letters of support on hand from Mr. Jeff Crothers, Joseph Jojo, Emily Moe, Vin Camiso, Anne Patricia Mary, Pamela Clamp, Adrian Yates, Borthwick, Shobit Kandawal, and Richard Mann. Good evening, Mr. Mann. I had to do a double take. You were released to the support as well as the agent. So.
That's right, yeah. We like to support our applications.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Richard Mann. I live at 153 Woodhaven Park Drive in Oakville. I'm here to speak on the application before you today, 062 2024 at 130 Gloucester Avenue. The application before you it's requesting two variances. It's requesting a lot coverage variance of 23.85% when 19% is allowed for a two-story dwelling, and it's also requesting a variance of 41.9 meters squared for a two-car garage where 38 meters squared is allowed in this zone. The garage variance is a realization of the existing floor area for the garage. Previously, when the addition to the house was built, there was a small storage area about 5 feet by 7'6" inside the garage, which reduced that floor area. That storage room was subsequently removed prior to my clients purchasing the house. So as part of the process with doing the proposed single-story addition, we're trying to legalize that condition. The request for additional lot coverage is to allow for a single-story addition to the rear of the house. It's nestled in the angle of existing protruding two-story component, and it sits along the back of the house. It's a single-story addition. Its roof height is lower than the existing house. All of the setbacks conform to the zoning bylaw, and it's a glazed great room addition to the property, and it gives us connection and access to the rear yard. This existing zone, the RL3SP10 zone, is a challenging zone for two-story houses. There are numerous houses in the area that have lot coverages greater than 19, 25, 30%. I've submitted a short list of 8 or 10 houses along Gloucester that all have coverages in excess of 25%. So we feel that the addition is in keeping with the development in the neighborhood. It meets the 4 tests of the minor variance stipulations, and we feel that the variances are minor in nature, and we'd like you to consider our application.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mann. Any questions from Mr. Mann at this time, or any items of clarification? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with respect to this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
There is no phone call this time.
Okay, very well. I have noted the 10 letters of support. I don't think there will be any opposition if we haven't heard any. So far, I am ready to entertain a motion. Who would like to get the ball rolling? Go ahead, Mr. Talowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm prepared to move this application be approved as applied for, finding it meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. I don't believe there's going to be any impact from this variance. The garage represents an existing condition, and the addition is appropriate in the fact that it's a single story in the center of the rear yard, not adjacent to any of the property lines. And I'd reiterate again the 10 letters of support. It'd make the approval conditional on development proceeding in general accordance with the site plan elevation dated March 8th, 2024, and that the permit expires in 2 years if the permit has not been issued.
Very well, thank you, Mr. Talowski. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, application CAV 065 of 2024 at 1071 Scott Avenue. Again, it's CAV 065 of 2024 at 1071 Scott Avenue. If you're interested to speak to this application, please call 905-815-6095. Staff will be standing by to take your call and provide you with further instructions to join the video conferencing. Good evening, Mr. Kovasenko. Go ahead.
Good evening, Madam Chair and committee members. Thank you very much for hearing our application this evening. This is application CAV A065/2024 for 1071 Scott Avenue. It's a existing dwelling rebuilt on a mature existing lot. We have received, so I'm Tom Kolbasenko from our Cool Blue Architects. I'm the architect. We are representing our clients with the agents in this application. And we did receive comments from staff on Friday afternoon, which we have reviewed. We do understand that one of the variances that we requested is not supported at this time. If I can skip to the next slide, please. Rather than seeking a deferral, what we would like to do is, after consultation with our client and having a chance to look at the design quite thoroughly over the last several days, we have decided that we would like to withdraw variance number 2 from the application and avoid seeking an increase in residential floor area. And with your permission, I would like to demonstrate to you how that will be done in the plans. I realize this is not ideal and committee members don't like seeing new information during committee presentations. However, in the interest of time, we ask permission to do this because our clients would like to start this project this summer for personal reasons. So this would be the most speedy way of sort of moving along with the application. Is that okay if I present how we...
Mr. Kovasenko, you're correct in saying that this situation is not ideal, and we're not back in the days when you can provide plans for everyone to be able to follow through. I will allow you that courtesy, but I do reserve the right that if the committee members are not comfortable, that you will have to take a deferral. And just keep in mind that if everything goes smoothly, you will have to provide, and that's also part of a staff, if staff support, whether they accept those changes on the fly and how they would like to tie them to our decision this evening. So I will be a little lenient today, but I'm not really promising anything. So go ahead.
Understood. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Okay, so we're seeking 2 variances now. The first one is an increase in garage floor area from 45 square meters to 59 square meters. This would allow a 3rd parking spot in a tandem configuration. And the second variance, or number 3 on the list, is an increase in residential lot coverage from 25 to 30%. Okay, let's keep going. Next slide, please. So this is the existing condition. There are actually 2 relatively new dwellings on either side of this property. So our proposal will be a good company on the street. Next slide, please. This is the proposal that we have submitted for consideration. It's a 2-story rebuild. Next slide, please. This is the rear view of the application, which was not previously provided. This was generated after we had submitted the application. So there is a covered porch element, basically outdoor living space. The 2nd floor steps back above the covered porch and above the living area. And then part of the variance for the lot coverage is actually a basement expansion underneath an open patio, which you can see to your left-hand side. So it's an open patio with no massing implications above grade. It's simply the numbers are captured in our lot coverage calculation. Next slide, please. So variance 3, I want to not go in sequence, but in sequence of drawings. So this is related to lot coverage from 25 to 30. So you can see here that the area is highlighted in green. The front covered porch, 1-story element, the rear covered porch, which is the bigger of the 2 rear rectangles. And then the open patio on the right-hand side of the rear, basically a deck for all intents and purposes with no massing. So those three areas approximately add up to the variance request, which is they're all single-story elements. And I understand there's no objection from planning staff to our request. And I also understand there's no objections from neighbors or anybody filing an objection to this request. Moving along to the next slide, please. Variance number 1 is related to the garage area increase from 45 square meters to 59 square meters. So again, this one doesn't have any real massing or visual impact. It's strictly an interior third parking spot, which doesn't really have any impact from the outside. And also with this one, I understand staff are supportive of our request, and there's no objections from anybody to our knowledge. The next one, please. Okay, so on this slide, I will just jump ahead a little bit. So with regards to removing of the second variance related to the residential floor area, it does require us to remove approximately 220 square feet from the footprint, not footprint, but residential floor area of the house. And so most of that is taken out from the second floor to help out with massing and create setbacks and a little bit more varied roof lines. But we have decided to take a little bit of space out, mainly for structural reasons, on the first floor, so that red strip towards the back of the breakfast nook represents approximately 18 square feet of area that we will be removing from the first floor plan. So that's in relationship to deletion of variance number 2. Next slide, please. This is the second floor as submitted, which was subject to the objection from staff or non-support from staff. We understand the objection is primarily because these variances, they come attached with trying to mitigate massing, not overbuilding on the lot, which I fully understand. So in order to help out with that and better respect the stable residential neighborhood design guidelines, if you can press the next slide, this is what we propose to remove, or this is the alterations that we propose from the second floor. So you'll see, again, removing approximately 12 to 18 inches from that master bathroom. I think it's 12 inches in this case. Approximately 2 feet from the master bedroom from the back, and actually almost 3.5 feet from the other side of the master bedroom, creating a significant setback on the side of the house towards the back, again, helping out with massing. Similarly, on the west side of the house, we would step back the rear as well. So in combination, all these 3 red areas, if we can flip to the next slide, would result in essentially a reduced second floor. The green outline is a representation of what the footprint was when it was submitted, or second floor outline, I should say. And you can see the revisions made to the drawings, which is what we propose to do to remove that second variance. So this would make the residential floor area fully compliant with the zoning bylaw, hence eliminating any concerns there. I believe that's all. I have a couple of slides left for the elevations. Now these elevations are the modified elevations. If we can go to the next slide. So on the bottom side, on the east elevation, I didn't indicate exactly what's changing from the original, but essentially the setbacks on the second floor over the rear covered porch are more significant. Next slide, please. And likewise, on the west elevation, the setbacks become quite pronounced, really, mitigating that second floor massing quite significantly. So that's what we have as far as our presentation. Thank you very much. And let me know if there's any questions I can address.
Okay, thank you. So I guess my first question is to the planning department. Brian, are you satisfied with these drawings if we are to proceed? And Mr. Kovasenko can provide them to staff in I guess physical form so that we can try tie the decision to them. Would that be acceptable?
Through you, Madam Chair, we're appreciative of Mr. Kovasenko's attempts at revising the application and the proposal to eliminate variance number 2 for lot area, or sorry, pardon me, for floor area ratio. And while that was the variance that planning staff had the most concern with, we still haven't had enough time through Mr. Kovasenko's presentation to look at the revised proposal holistically and amongst other departments at the town, including urban design. So we would still recommend a deferral in this instance to give staff some more time to view the proposed changes, just so that we have a clear indication of how we can proceed with a new report when it comes time to the new application date for this project.
Okay. Committee members, any comments, questions, items of clarification of Mr. Kovasenko before we take the matter in terms of deciding what to do? Go ahead, Mr. Tlowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A question for Mr. O'Hare. Would it be fair to say that in the staff report, staff's concerns were actually the front facade design of the house, and that, again, while appreciative of trying to reduce the variances, all the attention was paid to the back, and that what was proposed tonight didn't really address the concerns that staff raised?
Yeah, yes, through you, Madam Chair. That was the primary concern because although from a magnitude perspective, an increase in 1.9% to floor area ratio results in approximately 20.48 square meters an increase. So from that perspective, numerically, it's not a large increase, but due to the large 2-story windows on the front facade and lack of other sort of mitigating measures in terms of articulation for the front facade as well, that was where staff had the most concern. So you're right. Although appreciative of the attempt to remove the variance and having done so, there are still some of those design elements of the dwelling that urban design staff and us in planning still need to review fully with the revised plans.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kovasenko, you received the comments on Friday. You're no stranger to this committee, so we no longer convene on a Tuesday. You had plenty of time to submit those changes and bring them back to planning, or at least have a phone call with them to make things more clear before this meeting. Can I ask you why that wasn't done?
Yes, we actually did reach out to the committee staff via email, and we did request the opportunity to revise drawings. We were advised that no new material can be submitted, but we are essentially welcome to make a presentation. And I shared my intent with the committee staff again via email that we would like to proceed. That was on Friday.
No, that was on Friday. Okay.
Yeah, that was the same day we received the comments. After reviewing them, that's what we did. So I'm not sure if it was Jasmina or Heather on the other end of that email, but we did reach out.
No, but in terms of reaching out to Mr. O'Hare, for example.
Yes, no. So, our role as architects is we obviously understand the town's position and the town's design mandates. We also have a client who actually likes, the elevation as it is, and I guess I have a question as well for the committee and for the planning staff, for Mr. Hare. Would you agree that if we were not seeking a variance, for, let's say, lot coverage or the garage, that we could actually obtain a building permit with this elevation without any objections?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, to answer Mr. Kovasenko, if the proposal came back and was within all zoning parameters and no variances required. So lot coverage was reduced to 25% and garage area to 56 square meters. In this particular neighborhood, it's not architecturally controlled, so the applicant would be able to have a design of the dwelling for the exterior elements, whichever style they would like, as long as it was compliant with all measures within the zoning bylaw. However, because there are variances being requested in this case, we do look at the proposal not only from massing and scale, but how some of these design elements contribute to that. So having a proposal completely in compliance with the zoning bylaw takes that review element away in terms of architectural design and features of the dwelling. So Mr. Kolbasenko, if he were to submit a proposal that was completely in compliance with the zoning bylaw, on our end, there's nothing that we can do in terms of controlling the architectural features. But because it was opened up through this public process through committee of adjustment, it allows town staff to look at the development holistically in terms of not only what the actual numerical numbers of the variances mean in terms of impacts to abutting neighbors or on the public realm, but also how those design elements contribute to that as well.
Yeah, and I fully understand that, and thank you for clarifying that. So, in the past, I could just make one more comment. In the past, there was an opportunity to have sort of preliminary reviews and feedback from planning staff, which now that avenue has been eliminated, and basically we're not privy to that initial feedback on initial designs that we in the past would have been able to submit. So we took a bit of a chance on this one. I fully understand where your comments are coming from. However, we do feel the fact that we have reduced the massing quite significantly and improved or reduced the impacts of this application on adjacent properties and the neighborhood in general. So I still would ask the committee to consider that. Thank you.
Sorry, Madam Chair, do you mind if I answer Mr. Kolbasenko quickly?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Mr. Kolbasenko, we did remove the kind of pre-consultation process for community of adjustment approvals. But for this year, for 2024, we actually did bring it back. So applicants do have a chance now to connect with not only planning department, but urban design and development engineering for that pre-consultation process. There is a fee associated with that, and it's the appointment is made through the planning department itself. It is a new process. There hasn't really been much that's been done to kind of advertise it around. So we're working on that aspect of getting it on public websites and the web pages for committee of adjustment submissions to get applicants aware that there is a preliminary pre-consultation process now for minor variance applications. And if for any future projects that you may have, we're more than willing to meet in advance now that not a lot of people know about it, but we have brought that process back to meet in advance of a submission.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you for letting us know, and we'll definitely be taking advantage of that in future projects.
Actually, thank you, Mr. O'Hale. This is great advertising, actually. We should advertise this every single time on the Committee of Adjustments and let people know that there is a pre-consultation process that has been brought back, and people should take advantage of it, lest they have this predicament of coming back and requiring a deferral or facing a denial, basically. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kolbasenko. Unfortunately, I am in the hands of the committee. I don't think it's fair for us or staff to have to make a decision on the fly like this. I do recommend the deferral. I understand that your client wants to move on this as fast as possible, but it is the summer, and you know what? For example, today we had 6 applications on our roster, and normally we have 10 or 12. So maybe the Secretary Treasurer will be able to get you in as soon as possible. I can't promise, but you'll have to speak with her. She has the scheduling in her hands. That's my thought. I'm opening it up to the rest of the committee if they have any comments before we move forward. Okay, no comments. So then, I'm encouraging you to take the deferral. Is that something that you would like? Because the only other option is to proceed with the application as before us, and without taking into consideration those changes, because we can't really tie it to tangible plans that are reviewed and can be supported. So what would you like to do?
Yeah, I guess in light of the reservations presented here, then we'll proceed with we'll request a deferral, please.
Very well, thank you. All those in support of a deferral? Okay, application has been deferred. You'll see the Secretary Treasurer, and I'm sure she'll help you get back on the roster as soon as possible, since you've got all these plans and you can have them to the planning department as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
It's very hard. I just have to say this as a note. It's very hard in the era that we live in now, post-COVID, for us to look at applications that affect the scale and the massing and have a lot of mathematical calculations that are tied to any changes. It's not as easy, and we have reservations about doing that. Planning staff, it's not fair for them to have to make a decision on the fly either. So we just don't have that luxury like we did back in the day, when you can bring alternate plans, we can take a few minutes. And even then it wasn't easy, and we didn't like doing it. And there were times that it just wasn't acceptable, and we did have to move on with the deferral anyways. I just wanted to say that on record for future viewing and future applicants as a whole. So I appreciate you and your comments. Thank you. So we'll move on to the next application, which is CEV 065 of 2024. No, actually, that's just the one we just finished. It's CEV 066 of 2024 at 2092 Duncan Road. Again, it's CEV 066 at 2024 2098 Duncan Road. If you're interested in this application, please call 905-815-6095, and staff will be standing by to take your call and provide you with further instructions for the video conferencing. Good evening, Mr. Kieran. Go ahead.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Joris Kieran, and I'm the agent for this particular application. My address is 11 Bronte Road, Unit 31 in Oakville. Let me first start by saying I'm very happy to hear that the pre-consultation process has come back, which was also news to me. So this is a good venue to announce these things. Good to hear that. We'll certainly be taking advantage of that as well. Tonight, I have in front of you a two-story single-family dwelling, and we're seeking 3 variances. So one is a small side yard setback reduction, which we've just highlighted on this site plan. And as noted in the staff report, the projection is only occurring on the 2nd floor. So the foundation is actually compliant and within the setback. It's just a small corner of the 2nd floor that is causing this encroachment, if you will. So just wanted to clarify that it's not the entire building. Then we have the front yard setback. I'm skipping to variance 3 now. Front yard setback also noted here. A small reduction in the front yard setback, approximately half a meter, mainly because we are on a conservation regulated lot here, and we're trying to get a little bit further away from that hazard. We do have the conservation Halton permit already in place, so that's been approved. But also the lot, you can see that it tapers in a little bit. So the further back we go, the narrower the house gets, and bringing it forward allows us that little bit extra width. So those are the reasons for that setback. And we'll go to slide 2, please. As I normally do, I just indicate approximately where the additional square footage is occurring, which is driving variance 2 for the extra floor area, residential floor area. So it's really just these laundry room on the second floor, which people tend to prefer over having it in the mudroom, for example, on the main floor. So this gives that second floor laundry, and then all bedrooms have their own ensuite. That's what's essentially making up that extra square footage. And then the last slide, please. This is just a quick visual of that side yard projection, that it's just that upstairs second floor corner that's really the cause of that. So just to clarify what that in fact was. And then lastly, staff has no objections to this application and state that it's appropriate development. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Kieran. Are there any questions or items of clarification on Mr. Kieran at this time? Okay. I see no hands up. Madam Secretary Treasurer, has anyone called in with interest for this application?
There is no phone calls at this time.
Okay, very well. Who would like to move a motion then if there are no questions or items of clarification? Go ahead, Mr. Hardcastle. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having undertaken my site visit, having reviewed the materials, including the written staff report, and having heard the presentation, I'm satisfied that the requested variances conform to the 4 tests of the Act. Accordingly, I'll put forward a motion of approval. That motion would be subject to 2 conditions, those being that the detached dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated March 22nd, 2024, and the elevation drawings dated March 12th, 2024, and that the approval will expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a permit has not been issued.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. We'd like to confirm the minutes for April 3rd. Mr. Hardcastle, thank you. And the motion to adjourn. Mr. Hardcastle, once again, thank you. We are adjourned at 7:48.